Honey, is Rush back from vacation yet?
No, dear, he's on vacation. He had to take a break.
Oh, I can't get up. The country can't afford to have him go on vacation. I don't know how to think. I don't know what to think. I need Rush.
Hey, fear not. Fear not. We're back. We're back. We are back. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. Thank you. Here we are. Day 86 of the raw deal, the Clinton administration's continuing hostage crisis as America is held hostage, not little children. I still can't believe that the other day. On Monday, the president is sitting in the Oval Office and explaining his problem with the stimulus package. And he turns around, what about those kids out there? Those kids are being held hostage in Republic. They're not being held hostage. They're out there hunting for Easter eggs. They're on the White House lawn having a good old time. If anybody's held hostage by the kids are being held hostage, it's by Clinton. It's the only problem is they don't know it yet. Folks, I was back from vacation on Monday of this week, and then I lost my voice on Tuesday. I've got about 80% of it back now, and I know life is just not the same without me. I know that life is a little tougher, but I'm here, and we're here now for the most part through July on Rush, the TV show, before we take our summer hiatus. Let's show you what we have tonight. Here is the president. This is while he was out with the kids being held hostage. This is a whistle. I came out, I said, what is this thing attached to his lower lip? It looks like a giant, one of those clips on the end of a clipboard. It looks like his lower lip is clipped. It actually is a whistle. It's stuck in his mouth. You just can't see the part that it's in his mouth, but it's in there. And we're going to talk a little bit about his flip-flop on the VAT tax, the value-added tax, as well as a continuing expose on the phoniness and the fraud of this stimulus package, which is not a jobs bill. This is Alice Rivlin. She is part of the administration, and she has an answer about the stimulus package, which will prove our point. She, in essence, claims it's symbolic, but it takes her about 30 seconds to say it. She's right out of the Les Aspen School when answering the question about gays in the military. This is the new chairman of the NAALCP, the National Association for the Advancement of Liberal Colored People. Or, if you are a Perot fan, the National Association for the Advancement of You People. And he has said some amazing things about the situation in Los Angeles. And so I, ladies and gentlemen, will put those things that he said in perspective for you. A lot of people say, Rush, you've got to talk about your show more. Your show's the best kept secret. And folks, our ratings, just to give you a good comparison point, we have a rating which is a 4.1 or a 4.2. Without telling you what that means in numbers, just suffice it to say it's the same size audience that Today Show has. Very close to Good Morning America and that kind of thing. Now, you don't see that published in the press much because we, of course, are persona non grata. We are not considered part of talk television or whatever, because I'm a conservative and you're conservatives and we're just a bunch of kooks. So let me tell you and show you how we're trying to spread the word. This is an ad that appears in a trade publication called Inside Media this week. And it'll appear at a bunch of trade publications coming up in the next couple of weeks. It's a brand new picture of me. It's the best picture of me we've had yet. It's the other pictures of me that were out there were of about 50 or 60 pounds ago. And this tells the truth and the story about our show. And I show you this not to brag, and not to call attention to myself, and not to shamelessly promote the show, all of which has happened. I tell you this because I want you to know that we are behind our own show, and we're doing everything we can to let the rest of the country know just how well we're doing, and if we have to be the ones to tell you here, then we will. Now, I'm sure you're wondering also, ladies and gentlemen, about these ribbons. I have decided, ladies and gentlemen, to come before you tonight and take on personally the war on compassion, or the war of compassion. Because I'm wearing these ribbons, I care more than any of you about anything. And these ribbons say so. I want you people sitting at home and you people in the audience, look down at your lapel right now. I want you to do this. Put the camera back on me. Do this. When you look down, what do you see? You don't see anything because you're not wearing any ribbons. It means you're a bigot. It means you're a racist. It means you're a sexist. It means you're a homophobe. It probably means you're a white guy. It probably means you're a European. And you alone are responsible for all the ills of America. But I'm not, because I'm wearing these ribbons. I care more than you. I, ladies and gentlemen, am a better person than you. Why? Because I am wearing these ribbons. Now let me tell you what these ribbons mean. The red ribbon, of course, means AIDS awareness. The purple ribbon is awareness and consciousness about urban violence. You know how you can stop urban violence? Not with a stupid ribbon. Obey the law. Just try obeying the law. If we obeyed the law, there wouldn't be any violence. Imagine that. The pink, breast cancer. I am sensitive to those suffering breast cancer. And I care more than you. Why? Because I am wearing that pink ribbon. Green, save the rainforests. Blue, child abuse. I believe there are actually ribbons for this one. This is according to Newsweek. We've looked it up. The yellow, which is, of course, currently not in use, is for U.S. hostage awareness. But we are putting it to use here because we are all being held hostage. It's day 86. And we'll be back with the rest of the show right after this. Welcome back. Hey, you know, we got some people in our audience that you ought to meet. We got 5 people from Illinois. You drove here, is that right? You didn't. You flew in. Good. You got money. They flew in from Illinois to apologize to America for electing Carol Moseley Braun to the Senate, and they've all got Rush masks or signs. Or if you want, you guys flash them up there. There they are. We appreciate it. And now. Also, ladies and gentlemen, we are here tonight to talk a little bit about Bill Clinton, the President of the United States, his VAT tax. It ought to be placed in a vat. Every one of his taxes ought to be put in a scalding vat. They ought to just be boiled away. No, VAT is value-added tax, and we also want to do a little bit more detailed explanation of the stimulus package. And we are proud to have a member of the Clinton administration in our audience tonight. Let's see if you can spot him as we pan the audience. They're all a bunch of bozos in that administration. All right. Now, the value-added tax is something that, and this is very typical of this administration. They say they're not going to do something. Then they say that they're going to do it. Then they deny they've ever even talked about it. You know what is amazing to me, folks? I really think that the people, the journalists and all that inside the Beltway are really out of touch. Because everybody talks about, oh, we want this president to succeed. And everybody in America wants this president to succeed. His approval ratings are down to 49%. The people of this country are tired of politics as usual, and this is politics as usual. This is tell a lie or tell weave a web of deceit or whatever, and this is what people are tired of. People in Washington think, hey, this is no big deal. Don't get mad at him about this. Why? This is just politics as usual. Why? He had to lie to win. But the American people are tired of it. That's what the interest in Perot represents, in part. So I just want to try to illustrate to you again, because here we come pointing it out to you. We've been pointing it out since the campaign last fall. Everybody else is running around, he flip-flopped on the VAT tax. So what's new? He's been flip-flopping since he came out of the womb. He probably flip-flopped out of the womb. And it is not, thank you. It's not new. It's not new behavior at all, either as a human being or as a politician. Now, here he is, February 19th. This is 2 days after the State of the Nation address. He's somewhere in Ohio selling his program. He's in a cold call, and he mentions something about a VAT tax. Now, watch this.
It's not something that is now under consideration. If we start considering it, I'll tell you. I didn't mean to float a trial balloon or anything today. I was just discussing the tax in response to the question.
Yeah. And now George Stephanopoulos, after being asked, so wait a minute, is the VAT tax, are you really going to use? It's a national sales tax, by the way, folks. It's a tax on the middle class. It's a tax on you who weren't going to be taxed. And they asked Steffi, you're going to have this value-added tax? And here's what he said.
Are the working groups, have they examined the possibility of a VAT? Yes, they have. They've examined the possibility of a VAT. Has this been presented to the president? Has he made a decision? No, he has not.
They don't know what they're doing. It's every day they get up and see who will buy what. Who can we fool today? And so now what they've done here is really float the trial balloon to see if a value-added tax will fly for health care. Got to take a break, and we'll come back. We'll show you Alice Rivlin and the stimulus package and how phony and bogus this whole thing is. Don't go away. Now let's go straight to the stimulus package. You've heard it called an emergency stimulus package. You've heard it called a jobs bill. It's neither. It is not an emergency stimulus package, and it's not a jobs bill. And nowhere else in the media are you being told this. We seek, we find, we pierce the truth on this show. Here's Alice Rivlin, and she's part of the administration, and here is her explanation of why the stimulus package is needed. Just take a quick gander.
The only reason for using the emergency designation was that it seemed to us that something ought to happen before next October, that there was a chance with this somewhat faltering recovery to do some things this summer that would get some people working and that were good things to do. And we didn't take any programs that we weren't sure would work. There are no new programs in this package, and there are no temporary spending programs. These are all things that we were all agreed we wanted to do anyway. Just why not start them in fiscal 93 instead of waiting until next October to start in fiscal 94?
Huh? Now, two things about that. Do you remember when Clinton said, I want $4.5 billion for extended unemployment compensation benefits? The Republicans, and we made the point on this show, the Republicans said, fine, we'll go for it. Why don't you go ahead and cut what you're going to cut in your 93 budget? Go ahead and make that cut now, and that'll pay for it. And the Clinton administration said, no, that will take away our flexibility. Proving that they weren't interested in cutting the budget. They're interested in spending money and buying votes with it. And Alice Rivlin has now just said, hey, let's go ahead and move it up and do it now. Why wait for 93? Exactly what the Republicans said. Now, the emergency aspect of this is something else that you need to know the truth about. I want to show you from Bob Dole's office a fax I received this morning in my office. I'm going to read that first paragraph to you. Stimulus update, what emergency? Follow me along. I think we've got this on Chiron. If President Clinton's so-called stimulus package is really an emergency spending plan, then why is there more than $93 billion in federal funding already approved by Congress for this year that's still available to spend on programs slated to get even more money from the president's so-called stimulus package? Let me tell you what this means. Clinton's package is $16 billion. There is already budget authority, spending authority for $93 billion in stimulus funds. That's what they're called. The difference is that $93 billion is not targeted at the same ideal things Clinton's $16 billion is. Now, he says, no, we need that $16 billion to be spent in this economy to create jobs. That's not what it is. That $16 billion is payoff. It's the traditional pork. It's the same old thing in politics. That money is to big city mayors and a bunch of people who have supported Bill Clinton. He's got $93 billion ready to spend, but it's not aimed at the people he needs to pay back, so he can't use it. It's all smoke and mirrors. It's phony baloney, plastic banana, good time presidential rock and roll. Now, my friends, I am not trying to destroy the Clinton presidency. I'm just trying to find the truth here. I tell you the truth. It's up to you what to do with it. I'm not here to try to see that this presidency fails. Well, I tell you something. I do want the program to fail. This program is bad for America. It hurts the working people of this country, you. It is targeted at the middle class of this country to make you as dependent on government as possible. I think that's bad for you. So I do want this program to fail. It's a bad program. Just because he won, does that mean we have to sit here and take something that's wrong? All I'm trying to do is tell you the truth about it. What you do with it is up to you. We got a quick break. We'll take it and be back right after this. Welcome back to the Limbaugh Institute for Advanced Conservative Studies. The new chairman of the National Association for the Advancement of Liberal Colored People. There he is, Benjamin Chavez. Everybody is on the edge of their seats. Everybody is on pins and needles waiting for the verdict in Los Angeles. Here's what he says about it. Take a look.
Keep in mind that people here in the projects are really not the source of the problem. As we see certain sections of the African American community being cordoned off, being surrounded, it would make you think that the problem is in the hood. The problem is not in the hood. The problem is in the courts, the failure to administrate justice last year. There's a dual standard of justice. We have an absence of racial justice, an absence of economic justice.
I'm sorry to disagree, and I'm going to do so on a colorblind basis. What you just saw is a microcosm of one of the major problems in this country. And that is people refusing to accept responsibility for what they do. You throw a rock through somebody's window and then try to blame them for having the window there or having things on the other side of the window that you can't buy and justify throwing the rock through it, then you're creating the recipe for social decay. And the attempt to come along here and justify riots, justify murder, killing, looting, setting fires on the basis that there's not economic justice or that there is not judicial justice or something is a simple, flagrant matter of simply trying to justify someone's behavior and rationalize them and do anything you can other than blame those who are responsible. It's like the Reverend Jackson said we couldn't call those people who did all that mayhem in L.A., we couldn't call them looters. We couldn't call them thugs. We couldn't call them criminals. That was because, ladies and gentlemen, that was not useful to call them names. It's not calling them names. It's identifying a certain kind of behavior. Now, almost every mainstream news media anchor in this country has been calling Los Angeles riots of 1992 the worst riots in American history. But it's not so. The worst riot in this country's history broke out in New York City in 1863 during the Civil War. Honest Abe, Republican president, realizing he needed 300,000 more troops to fight the Civil War, signed the National Conscription Act. This was the first draft law in American history. The act required all men between the ages of 18 and 45 to sign up and register, but it also had a provision that allowed anyone called up for service to buy his way out of the draft for $300. Now, the only problem with that was $300 was far more than the middle working class citizen had during the Civil War. So in July of 1863, thousands of working class men went on a rampage. They were joined by criminal gangs as well. The police superintendent of New York, a guy named John Kennedy, was among the many beaten to a pulp in these riots. Manhattan was for the better part of a week ravaged by arson, looting, and murder before order was restored. The exact death toll of this riot is still unknown, but at least 1,200 people, including 350 militia troops, lost their lives. Some 83 blacks were lynched. The number of injured ran to over 8,000. Property damage was over $5 million. Yet, only a few dozen people were ever indicted. Only 19 men were ever jailed after all of this mayhem, and none of them for murder. The worst riot in our history, caused not by a jury verdict, ladies and gentlemen, but by men seeking to avoid serving their country. What's the moral of our story? What's the lesson to be learned? Never, ever trust a draft dodger.
Services provided and promotional fees paid by the following. Rush Limbaugh's Wardrobe by Rochester, Big and Tall. Send your Rush video to The Rush Limbaugh Show, 515 West 57th Street, New York City, New York, 10019.
If you'd like to order a video cassette of Rush's TV show for only $24.95, just call 1-800-FOR-VIDEO. For a transcript, send $5 to Burrell's Transcripts, Box 7, Livingston, New Jersey, 07039, or call 1-800-777-TEXT.